on the weekend edition of Extra. Is the JonBenet Ramsey murder case at a dead end? Officials in Boulder now admit for the first time they may never find her killer. Extra looks at the growing despair over the death of an angel. LSD in the teacher's thermos and Windex in the coffee. Poisonous pranks against teachers are out of control. Extra looks at why our schools have become such a danger zone. This Dalmatian was clinically dead, but mouth-to-snout resuscitation brought this beloved pet back from the brink. Now, Extra shows you the life-saving techniques that could give your dog a second chance. His life is a wreck. Brian Carson risks it all to create a cool crash. Now, Extra climbs into the cockpit with America's ultimate thrill seeker. Plus, the models have seconds to change clothes and run back to the runway. Extra shows you the fashion frenzy behind the scenes at a designer show. It's the third weekend of May, 1997. Time to get something extra.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the weekend edition of Extra. I'm Brad Good.
And I'm Libby Weaver. Thanks for joining us. Well, summer's almost here, and that will bring an end to a violent year in America's schools. More and more teachers are victims of poison pranks. Imagine lethal chemicals, Windex, even drugs. Well, that's what some students are using to terrorize teachers. As Phil Schuman reports, it's turning classrooms into battlefields. That's this weekend's top story.
Look out, teachers, the days of getting shiny red apples are over. Instead, students have put rat poison in coffee, methyl alcohol in lemonade, and detergent in the dew. But what happened at a San Diego middle school tops them all.
We were able to identify one of the 8th grade students that in fact was responsible for putting the LSD into the teacher's thermos bottle.
That's right, LSD in a teacher's iced tea. A 13-year-old student here, apparently angered by a failing grade on a history project, slipped the hallucinogenic drug into 30-year veteran teacher John Dutzman's thermos, sending him to the hospital. And in Sandpoint, Idaho, Brittany Bergman's friends hug her on the 13-year-old's first day back at middle school after being suspended for a week and a half. Brittany's crime? She and 2 friends were playing with Windex when they spotted a teacher's coffee cup.
We were just messing around, and we squirted it in her coffee. It was just like a few squirts. It wasn't like, it wouldn't even hurt her, really. Another student warned that teacher before she drank the coffee and cleaner cocktail, and that's a good thing because Windex contains ammonia, a dangerous substance. Now, the kids who pull these so-called pranks have to know they're dangerous. Here's another example from Colorado. Students used sodium hydroxide, the active ingredient in drain cleaner. It says right on the back of the can, poison. Yet they poured some crystals into some water one of their teachers was drinking. In less than a minute, it's destroyed this plastic cup. It also destroyed a teacher's throat and stomach. She had to be hospitalized. Fortunately, she recovered.
Young people are much more willing than ever before, it seems to make pranks against teachers.
Dr. Ronald Stevens is the executive director of the National School Safety Center, created by a 1984 White House directive to reduce violence at schools, a problem that Stevens believes is getting worse as each year passes.
It seems that these so-called pranks are getting more and more serious. Why is that?
Part of it is students who are just much more willing to do surprising and shocking things. It's all the way up to and including plans to kill and attack teachers.
That's what happened just a month ago in Honolulu. A student accused of writing an essay about hiring a psycho to kill her teacher.
I think we have a values problem. Kids aren't sure what's right or wrong.
Ed Shockey has been teaching for 23 years and agrees that student misconduct is on the rise. He makes sure to lock up valuables in his classroom, won't drink water that's been left unattended. He blames working parents who are too busy for a lack of discipline among students.
Is the basic problem that students have lost respect for teachers?
I think kids don't understand what respect is, and kids do demonstrate quite a bit of disrespect for teachers.
So it's safe to say that kids aren't bringing in the old shiny red apples for teachers anymore. A new reality.
We'll look at it closely, cut it open, and then evaluate. Do a chemical analysis.
Well, it's really not a laughing matter. In just 2 years, the percentage of students classified as disruptive has gone up from 10% to 15%. There's even an acronym to describe problem students. It's called ODD, Oppositional Defiant Disorder.
It's no surprise drugs are another problem facing kids, but now parents may be able to fight back. This past week, the first FDA-approved drug test arrived on store shelves. For $30, parents can now buy Dr. Brown's home drug test to see if their children are using drugs. The maker thinks it will help stop kids from trying marijuana and other substances. But critics say the tests break the trust between parent and child. We asked you to take sides. So in last weekend's Extra Opinion poll, we asked, do you think home drug tests are a violation of privacy? 28% of you said yes, while an overwhelming 72% said no. And this week, many college students have on their minds graduation. And one man is on everyone's most wanted list. Aside from President Clinton, he's the most popular speaker at college graduations. The crowd at New York University cheered, and they went wild at Cal Berkeley. All the applause this week was for Bill Cosby. He's helping thousands of young people celebrate graduation day. Just 4 months after his son Ennis's murder, Bill's sense of humor is intact. Listen to his warning for Berkeley grads.
Your parents are serious. They want you at a damn job. They want to see you working.
But the cause is just warming up. He has 5 more commencement ceremonies to attend. No one looks better in those fancy robes. Cosby's been a favorite on the graduation circuit for almost 20 years. His only fee for these speeches is an honorary doctorate from the schools. Well, here are some of the other top talkers at this year's college graduations. Some of President Clinton's stops, West Point and UC San Diego. But he's also speaking, of course, at Chelsea's high school graduation. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright will be at Mount Holyoke, and Oprah Winfrey will address graduates at Wellesley College.
Well, the prosecution could wind up its case this week against Timothy McVeigh, accused of planning the bomb at the Oklahoma City Federal Building. But some experts say there may have been more than one explosion. For the details, let's get plugged in. Seismic evidence. Seismographs in Oklahoma City recorded these signals when the federal building blew up. Dr. Raymond Brown, a geophysicist at the University of Oklahoma, says there are 6 to 8 seconds of unexplained seismic activity after the truck bomb blast. He says it could be a sign of more explosives.
There is still the possibility that demolition charges could have been involved.
The government disagrees. Prosecutors believe Timothy McVeigh acted alone. Culture clash. On Monday, a New York City court will decide if a Danish couple is guilty of child neglect. Annette Sorensen and Xavier, the child's father, were reunited with their 14-month-old daughter last Wednesday. They made international headlines when they were arrested at a New York restaurant for leaving their daughter outside while they were inside. The Department of Children's Services took their little girl away, and the Danes spent 2 nights in jail. Rating the ratings. A meeting will be held in Peoria, Illinois on Monday to discuss how well the new TV rating system is working. Since January, TV programs have been rated for appropriate age groups. Opponents of the current system claim parents cannot effectively determine a show's content based on the rating system's letters and numbers.
Some thought this would be the week police finally made an arrest in the death of an angel, but so far, nothing's happened. Now, for the first time, some Boulder officials admit they may never charge anyone for JonBenet Ramsey's murder. Lauren Sanchez looks at the city's growing despair over this case.
It was a stunning moment. During a television interview, Boulder Mayor Leslie Durgan warned citizens the murder of JonBenet may never be solved.
That sometimes you just can't get the outcome that the community and certainly the police and the district attorney desire in terms of a successful conviction. I think it's going to be very difficult in this community.
And the mayor is not alone. Even the man in charge of the investigation is pessimistic. In this Thursday's Rocky Mountain News, Police Chief Tom Kobe says an arrest could be months away. And that's not reassuring news for the people of Boulder.
It should have been settled and done with. Can't say that I ever had faith in the Boulder Police Department.
And neither does Boulder resident and former Time Magazine managing editor Jim Gaines.
The Boulder Police definitely messed up the case from day one. The fact that there wasn't a thorough search of the house And the fact that the evidence was tainted and corrupted almost immediately.
On day one, investigators didn't secure the crime scene when they arrived. They allowed John Ramsey and a friend to search the house without police. John found his daughter's body in the basement, carried it upstairs, ripped the duct tape off her mouth, and tried to revive her. His actions may have contaminated vital evidence. Then, it took 4 months before police could get John and Patsy Ramsey to agree to a face-to-face interview. Afterward, they broke their silence and said they didn't do it.
I did not kill my daughter, JonBenet.
Let me assure you that I did not kill JonBenet.
And you would think after this week's arrival of DNA test results at the Boulder Police Department, an arrest would have been made. But now there's fear the results are inconclusive and won't hold up in court.
But it can't clear the parents. And it can't incriminate the parents because their DNA belongs in the house.
And while police have their critics, others think District Attorney Alex Hunter is taking his time and playing it safe, making sure he doesn't repeat the mistakes made by LA police and prosecutors in the O.J. Simpson case.
If there's no arrest, the credibility of the Boulder Police Department is going to suffer.
But Gaines says if the case isn't solved, the people hurt most will be the Ramseys.
Whether they're guilty or innocent, they have a scarlet letter on them that will not go away.
Well, police definitely have their work cut out for them. Detectives are in the process of evaluating more than 13,000 pages of transcripts and various test results from their investigation.
When this poodle was pulled from a burning house, it had no heartbeat, but one firefighter didn't give up. Still ahead, see animals saved by CPR, even mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. This daredevil doesn't try to avoid danger, he's the king of crash. Don't miss these death-defying stunts as Brian Carson reveals his secret to surviving every time. James and Penny Fletcher are prisoners on an island paradise, but time is running out. Next, new details about the medical crisis that could put one of these tourists through torture.
We'll be back.
There is a new concern for an American couple trapped in a Caribbean jail.
And it doesn't look good. James and Penny Fletcher say they were framed for murder and now face a possible hanging. But family members say the Fletchers' health is fading fast and they could die before the controversial trial even starts.
Penny and I have spent the past 4 months preparing the boat for an adventure that I've dreamed about for my entire life.
That was an excited James Fletcher in May 1995 on his boat, the Carefree, in Key Largo, Florida, just hours before he and his wife Penny left for their round-the-world trip. A year later, the couple arrived in a Caribbean paradise called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But the fun in the sun turned into a nightmare. Arrested for murdering water taxi driver Jerome Jolly Joseph. They've been under lock and key since last October.
Penny, did you do it? No.
Penny and Jim are just two normal, everyday American people that supposedly were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Penny's sister, Eldora, tells Extra the couple was set up and cannot count on a fair trial.
There's no evidence, there's no blood, there's no motive, there's no weapon, there's no reason, there's no evidence to hold them there.
The Fletchers' plight has received attention even at the White House. Last week, during a Caribbean summit in Barbados, President Clinton met with James Mitchell, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent. Extra has learned the two men discussed the Fletcher case, but so far, nothing has been resolved.
We would feel comfortable if we knew that President Clinton was staying involved on a weekly, daily basis, making sure they're not being denied of their basic rights, their privileges that they deserve.
If nothing's done soon, the issue may be moot because Penny, who was treated for throat cancer in 1995, may be too sick to stand trial.
She's had severe urinary tract infections.
Last month, Penny was hospitalized because of those infections, and results of her pap smear earlier this year showed evidence of lesions in the cervix.
10% of these patients go on to have cancer of the cervix.
Dr. Alan DeSherney heads the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at UCLA. He says Penny needs access to better medical care and sophisticated tests as soon as possible.
Cancer of the cervix is a fatal disease, or can be a fatal disease.
James's condition is almost as bad. His daughter Julia tells Extra her 6'1" father has wasted away from 165 to just 135 pounds.
He told me he's dying, and the lawyers have said so also. I mean, if you live on bread and water for 6 months, you're not going to be in perfect condition.
And with the prosecution and most of the citizens of this island nation convinced of the Fletchers' guilt, the future for this fun-loving couple looks grim.
He took early retirement, and they decided to sail around the world. It's a vacation from hell. That's what it is.
Now, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent says the Fletchers have received proper medical attention, but hospital records indicate Penny has not been given the necessary tests. Their trial is scheduled to begin in July.
This lovable Dalmatian was on his deathbed until his owner saved him with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Next, see the procedures that could save your family pet in an emergency. There may be a silent killer on your child's playground, or maybe in your own backyard. It's a wood preservative called creosote. See where this hidden danger may be lurking in your neighborhood. Plus, see how this medicine man uses his mystical powers to heal patients and to make history.
Don't touch that dial.
You're about to see some dramatic animal rescues.
Now, we know paramedics are trained to save humans in an emergency, but when it's your family pet in danger, some familiar techniques can bring animals back from the brink of death. Thick black smoke pours from a Florida home. Firefighters find this lifeless poodle named Chewy. Near death, the dog looks like a rigid rag doll, but with oxygen and CPR, rescuers are able to breathe life back into the dying pooch. In California, this energetic Dalmatian was clinically dead for 10 minutes last weekend. Abby choked on this rubber ball, but the fast action of her firefighter owner saved her life.
She fell over dead, literally. I reached my hand all the way in up to my elbow down her throat, and I could feel the ball, but I couldn't get it because it was slippery with saliva. I grabbed it one more time and I pulled it, and it popped out just like that.
Then Alan Cohen's paramedic son, Robbie, performed mouth-to-snout resuscitation.
You know, we do this on people, but we didn't know what to do on a dog. I figured out the best way to do it is to get an airtight seal and grab the whole snout.
All over the country, pet emergencies like these occur every day.
2 quick breaths or 2?
2 quick initially.
So now there are classes to teach owners how to perform CPR and resuscitate their pets.
People seem to be much more prepared for emergencies with their children than they are with their pets.
Dr. Jim Walters is a North Hollywood, California veterinarian. He says in emergencies, when rescuers are not around, it's up to the pet owner to stay calm and be a hero. Having the right supplies on hand, like a first aid kit, is a must.
And there's various bandage materials, tape. This is a instant cold pack, which you can use for much the same injuries you would with people.
Other items, a small flashlight to look down your pet's throat, a newspaper that can be used as a splint, and a muzzle so you don't get hurt while trying to help your hound. Like what it took to save Abby. If an animal is choking, sometimes you can reach in its throat to pull the object out. Sometimes a procedure similar to the human Heimlich maneuver can save a life.
If you can lift them up, you can press underneath the rib cage, or in large animals that are very difficult to lift up. The idea is to put some compression back behind the rib cage up toward the diaphragm to expel objects.
And because of these uniquely shaped bodies, CPR on a pet really amounts to gently massaging the heart.
The only way you can externally massage the heart is from the sides, where you have to push on the sides. And that is not as efficient a method of creating circulation as the method that's been devised for people, where they come from the front of the sternum.
As for Chewy and Abby, they're living proof of just how important first aid is, even for pets. And it's not just for dogs. Those procedures will also work for cats. Dr. Walters says cats are actually more likely to survive trauma than dogs because of their agility and lightweight.
Well, Brad, they're using some non-traditional medical techniques in Arizona. For only the second time ever, a Native American medicine man is working in a modern hospital.
You go like that. You know where are the joints.
in the body.
His methods include bone adjustments, herbal remedies, and ancient ceremonies. For 50 years, JonBenet has practiced his art on the Navajo reservation in northern Arizona. But now, twice a week, he brings these traditional rituals to one of the reservation's modern hospitals.
There's a lot of hospital on the reservation, but they don't know what's wrong with them. They come over here to me to find out what's wrong with them.
Jones treats everything from bone and joint injuries to headaches, even cancer. Doctors like Frank Armeo believe he's a good complement to Western medicine.
Doctors tend to be good with the nuts and bolts, I think, but sometimes you need a little glue. And I really think the Navajo medicine men are the glue in the Navajo culture.
While the medicine man's services aren't covered by most insurance or government health programs, for now, Winslow Indian Health Center is footing the bill as a service to the community.
Creosote is a toxic substance used on popular wood products. Experts say it causes cancer and immune system damage. Now, see just how close you may be to this dangerous chemical. 5 bungee thrill seekers prepare for an illegal plunge, but their stunt ends tragically in Tampa Bay. The shocking video is coming up. You know, it never fails. Why do folks take so long to pull out of the parking spot that you want? Researchers say it's animal instinct. See what happens when Libby Weaver tests their theory.
Wait till you see what's next.
Welcome back to Extra, everybody. With Memorial Day coming, you can bet many Americans will be heading outdoors.
And that could put you in contact with a potentially deadly substance. It coats railroad ties, a popular landscaping product. Now our Rick Schwartz reveals how it could affect your family.
It's a danger lurking in the park where kids play, on railroad ties that line gardens, and on utility poles. It's called creosote, a commonly used wood preservative and a known carcinogen. Biochemist Garn Wallace says creosote is something you should be afraid of if swallowed whole.
1/3 of this teaspoon could kill a human being.
In about 1 day.
1 day, that's all it would take.
Yes.
Creosote is the black, gooey, tar-looking substance you often see oozing from railroad ties and into nearby soil and plants. Millions of people throughout the country use railroad ties to line flower or vegetable gardens. They last a very long time and the ties are inexpensive, only about $10 each. But while creosote lengthens the life of lumber, Jay Feldman of the National Association for the Misuse of Pesticides says the preservative can shorten human lives.
We know those chemicals cause cancer, endocrine disruption, neurological impact, immune system damage.
Jay warns people need to stop using the creosote-coated railroad ties around their vegetable gardens.
That chemical can be taken up by the plant, which means when you harvest your vegetable crop, you may be ingesting unnecessarily residues of the wood preservatives, of creosote.
To find out how much creosote actually seeps into the ground, I took Garn to a Los Angeles area home with railroad ties where he gathered samples of the soil. He then took those samples to Truesdale Laboratories in Tustin, California. Chemist Joe Bramblett gave us our soil results.
We found detectable levels of the compounds that are associated with creosote nearest the tie.
And a trace of creosote was found in the soil further away from the tie. How hazardous is creosote? Well, there are conflicting opinions.
Say I have a garden, growing tomatoes. They're healthy plants. I go and plant railroad ties right next to them. The creosote seeps in. I pick my tomatoes. I eat them. What's the danger?
I imagine to be a low danger from a plant, from a fruit plant like a tomato plant. If the creosote were high, the plant would die before it would generate fruit for you.
But Garn says touching creosote is another story.
The main problem is human skin contact or hand-to-mouth contact.
The Home Depot is one of the many places you can buy railroad ties. At the Glendale, California store, salesperson Kevin Alter warns his customers.
We tell them to use heavy gloves while carrying this.
The Environmental Protection Agency conducted tests on creosote in the mid-1980s and changed the availability of the preservative. Now only people with a special license are allowed to buy containers of pure creosote. The preservative was not entirely restricted because, a spokesperson from the EPA tells Extra, the benefits of creosote outweigh the risks. But Jay says common sense shows there is no excuse for continued use of wood products treated with creosote.
We're all aware that we live in a polluted world. There are all kinds of exposures, the food we eat and the air we breathe. Why introduce another toxic element into our homes and into our gardens?
Now, the EPA tells Extra additional testing on creosote could take place within the next few years, and depending on the outcome of those tests, more restrictions might be placed on the preservative.
You're about to see some people who love dangerous situations, but these thrill seekers will never forget their most recent stunt. Check it out.
1, 2, 3, go!
Watch this. 4 men and a woman performed this illegal jump off Tampa Bay's Sunshine Skyway Bridge earlier this month. Now watch as the group, attached here by a single cable, jumps off the 175-foot-high bridge. Swinging through the air at more than 80 miles per hour, it looks like a smooth ride, but watch this. Boom, right there, the cable breaks and all 5 slam into the choppy water. Surprisingly, everyone survived, but 2 jumpers did suffer broken necks. However, they are expected to recover.
They are so lucky, and if you think those people are crazy, then you've got to meet Brian Carson, the king of crash. He travels the country looking for dangerous ways to blow himself up. He gave us a glimpse at how he does it when he took Extra to the extreme.
Get ready.
Dangling from a crane, an auto bursts into flames as it plummets to the ground. Speeding at 70 miles per hour, these wheels fly off a ramp and crash into a tower of tin. And through a series of explosions, this car flips, rolls, and bounces. The car is decimated, but the driver walks away.
I do something different than any other auto stunt performer does. I guarantee a wreck every time we go out.
He's Brian Carson, a.k.a. the king of crash, but crash may be an understatement.
I'm not trying to jump a car from ramp to ramp or make it look pretty. We go out and destroy and totally demolish the car.
His first crash was at age 16 in upstate New York.
A few of my friends bought new cars and couldn't afford the insurance payments on it, so they asked me to slide it into a tree or roll it over and bend the frame so they could collect the insurance money.
He went from helping friends to wowing crowds, a traveling daredevil headlining at monster truck events and drag strips.
I've crashed closing in on 2,500 cars over the past 2 decades. And the safety and the preparation of the vehicle is how you can survive these car crashes.
In addition to the steel cage built inside the car, Brian has to bulk up.
I started basically wearing as many pads as I possibly can underneath my fire suit, which starts with knee pads, shin pads, elbow pads, kidney pads.
Add a helmet, neck brace, and gloves, and he's ready to rumble, with a little help.
We try and hit Brian with the bombs as many times as we can.
Pyrotechnician Greg Landerer is the man behind the magical mushrooming fireballs.
And my motto in my company is the hell with the dialogue, let's blow something up.
I've broken close to 50-odd bones over my career. Have steel plates in one arm, rods and pins in one leg. It isn't a pretty business.
But it is pretty amazing. And as long as there's cars to wreck, this king will continue to crash for crowds. That is amazing, but he is nuts. Now, off the job, the king of crash has only been in one accident. A drunk driver hit him on the way home from one of his shows.
And Carson's already in negotiation to make a movie about his life entitled The Life of Brian.
Extra. They're no daredevils, but these video game jockeys have a tough job. Imagine studying every detail of more than 1,000 games. David Rose shows you the hard work behind the fun. And here's this weekend's Extra Flashback quiz. 30 years ago, public television introduced a new TV neighborhood. What was it? We'll have the answer in a moment.
Stay tuned. Alan's asthma attack woke me. At 3 a.m., you don't try some unknown brand. You trust Primatene Mist.
It starts to open clogged breathing passages in as fast as 15 seconds.
We take asthma seriously with Primatene Mist.
Fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
In days of yore, suitors wooed maidens with treasures from afar, acts of chivalry, and plenty of closet space. These days, you can give yourself gifts of gold and silver, nuggets from Hershey, 2 rich bites of Hershey's chocolate, one of life's little rewards.
On March 16th,
folks from Saturn got up a little earlier than usual. See, it was our chance to watch the cars we built here arrive on the other side of an ocean. 10 years ago, we all knew it was a risk, building a new American car. It was pretty much sink or swim. I guess you could say we just swam all the way to Japan.
Honey, we're going for 3 days, not 3 years.
Cute, very cute. I wonder how many sandals I'll need on this trip.
We will be coming home, right? What's this?
Sandals. To match the outfits.
I'm gonna need a new back.
The Payless Shoe Source Summer Sale. A super selection of sandals for women. 2 pair for $20.
I have a feeling I'm forgetting something.
Not possible, Meg. It's just not possible.
Doesn't it feel good to pay less?
Brunios novia, roll gold Crispies. Легкие и хрустят. Не твердые. Bruskies?
Introducing Crispies, new from Rolled Gold.
Here's this weekend's Extra Flashback. May 18th, 1980, Mount St. Helens erupts in Washington State. At 8:32 a.m., the snow-capped volcano blew its top, sending a steamy cloud of ash 12 miles into the sky. The force of the blast was greater than an atomic bomb and was heard as far away as Canada. 5 million tons of ash smothered the Pacific Northwest. Residents had to shovel it like snow. 60 people were killed and damages were close to $1.5 billion. May 21st, 1927, Charles Lindbergh completes the first solo transatlantic flight aboard the Spirit of St. Louis. Lindbergh made the historic trip from New York to Paris in 33.5 hours. Proclaimed an international hero, Lindbergh received a huge ticker tape parade in New York City. Lindbergh would later win the Pulitzer Prize for his autobiography, The Spirit of St. Louis. And here's this weekend's Extra Flashback quiz answer. May 22nd, 1967, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood premieres on public television. Fred Rogers, America's favorite neighbor, welcomed children and parents into his world of make-believe for a light look at life's lessons. The gentle and soft-spoken Mr. Rogers has taught young viewers about everything from death and divorce to why we don't go down the drain with the bathwater. The Emmy Award-winning series is the longest-running children's program on PBS. And that's this weekend's Extra Flashback.
Just this week, a new investigation into the assassination of Martin Luther King began.
And as they do with President Kennedy, conspiracy buffs believe more than one gunman was involved. Now add another name to that list, Yitzhak Rabin. Extra has uncovered new evidence that shows the Israeli leader's death may have been a high-level plot. November 4th, 1995, a home video captures Yigal Amir murder Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in downtown Tel Aviv. Or did it? Like the Kennedy assassination 34 years earlier, conspiracy theories are a cottage industry in the Holy Land. And no one in Israel believes in a conspiracy more than journalist Barry Hamish.
The fall guy is going to shoot a bullet. He's going to be pounced on. He's going to be arrested. Rabin will escape from his assassination.
Escape because Hamish believes the plan was for the right-wing law student to shoot blanks. Amir reportedly shouted, "It's fake," the moment he was captured.
He shot one blank. The second two shots, no one saw them.
Hamish says the Shin Bet, Israel's internal security agency, hired Amir to fake the assassination. The reason?
And the assassin is going to be a right-wing Sephardic religious Jew, the prototypical opponent of the peace process.
Ironically, Rabin was shot moments after a peace rally in the square of the Kings of Israel. Watch as the bodyguard shoved him into his limo for the 4-block ride to Ehilov Hospital. The back door mysteriously closes, supposedly impossible, because the driver said he was the only one in the car at the time. Conspiracy theorists believe the real gunman was hiding inside. And it took the driver more than 8 minutes to get to the hospital. He says he got lost. Extra challenged the driver's statement, taking the same route to Ehilov. In heavy Tel Aviv traffic, it took our crew only 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
He's the best driver in the country. He is not going to get lost on the way to Ichilov. Something happened in those 8 minutes where he's out of touch with everyone.
So, could that something be another shooting? At his trial, Amir testified he shot Rabin only twice.
התיעוד של רצח יצחק רבין.
But why did TV reports quote Health Minister Ephraim Shnei saying Rabin was DOA with not 2 but 3 bullet wounds?
To discuss now if what I said, if it was 2 bullets or 3 bullets, 1 hour after the assassination, I think it's, to say the least, it's unimportant.
The man who should know how many bullets killed Rabin is ER surgeon Dr. Mordecai Gutman.
I can confirm that there were no exit wounds. There were only 2 entrance wounds.
But Gutman's notes contradict that statement. He wrote an exit wound was found in the spinal cord at D56. The official report states the 2 bullets removed from Rabin's body were different than the 1 removed from his bodyguard who was also hit. The implication? A second gunman. The analysis of metals and gunpowder on the clothing show Rabin was shot at point-blank range. But look again at the home video. Amir appears to be several feet away, not exactly point-blank. Only one thing is certain. Everyone in Israel has more questions than answers. Amir's lawyer, Shmuel Fleischman, says, wait a while. We're looking at JFK, Dallas, and Oswald all over again.
Maybe in Israel, in about 20 or 25 years from now, people will try to make other point of views about this matter.
Well, in a strange bit of irony here, John Kennedy Jr. recently included a story about the Rabin conspiracy in his magazine, George.
Up next, think you're good at Nintendo? These guys are the best of the best. They play video games all day, and they actually get paid for it. Plus, this is what it looks like on stage. But this is what it looks like backstage.
Georgina, please. Angela.
Extra reveals the chaos behind the calm at those designer fashion shows.
More to come on Extra.
If you've ever been stumped by Nintendo, which I'm sure you have, listen up.
You'll be happy to hear this. The computer game company has a team of experts ready to answer all your questions about Super Mario and all the rest.
Yeah, these people play video games constantly, so we thought it sounded like the perfect gig for our David Rose.
Nintendo Gameplay, this is Terrell. How can I help you?
They hold the keys to a magical world.
Okay, so you got zapped into the dark world then, right?
Are you talking about in Cool Mountain? You talk to the snowman's head?
Offering solutions when you're stumped.
You stand on the right one of those little dark splotches, and then use the mirror.
Cool, I'm not a bunny anymore.
You're not a bunny anymore.
A select group of 225. Nintendo's video gameplay counselors.
You betcha so you got the bird to appear already?
Sitting in aisles named for characters like Torpedo Ted and Koopa Troopa, they answer questions like, how do you get Mario past that white blob? Or what's the fastest way to destroy the Empire's warships? Frustrated players simply call Nintendo's 1-900 number and get the advice they need for $1.50 per minute. They don't even have to speak English.
Oui, je suis pas capable d'ouvrir la porte pour ouvrir le donjon.
Ah, voilà. Vous avez déjà visité tous les autres donjons?
But not just anyone can become a video counselor, as I learned when I visited Nintendo's headquarters in Seattle.
It's the childlike personality that works best in this kind of job because they still see wonder in everything they do. They sit down with a new game and it becomes alive, and then they're able to take that energy and excitement and explain it to a consumer over the phone.
Nintendo recruiter Shelley Saunders puts candidates through an intense 6-week training course, teaching them everything they need to know about video games. They're quizzed.
Who's this? David?
That is Mario.
All right.
Their skills are tested.
I would like each of you to show me that you know how to make Mario tiptoe.
You want him to tiptoe?
Yep.
Now he's prancing.
And believe me, the competition can be fierce.
How do you find the semi?
Yeah, play it yourself, man.
Where's the semi?
But the key to the job is this database that has detailed explanations of Nintendo's 1,600 video games and the passwords for secret shortcuts.
This would be every 13-year-old's dream.
Finally, I'm allowed to take a phone call with my mentor Alan standing close by.
Go slow, but be forceful.
All right.
All right, you got it?
Yep.
Okay, go.
Nintendo gameplay, this is David. How can I help you?
David, this is, I'm playing Illusion of Gaia here.
Uh-huh.
You played this game?
I have not played that game before, to be completely honest with you, but I'm not alone here and have plenty of help with me. What's around you?
People.
People. What are they dressed like?
They're just like all the people. They're just like angels, I guess.
They're dressed like angels?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I talk to somebody that knows?
Yeah, hold on just a second, please.
Tough caller, but I wasn't giving up yet.
Where are you now?
And where do I go once I get in there? I gotta hurry. My mom's gonna get upset if I don't get off the phone soon.
Okay, you need to find the underground lake, and then you need to ride the swimming beast. You might want to get a pen and write this down.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, you want to take the passage to the left.
Cool, thank you very much.
All right, give us a call anytime.
A typical counselor takes 100 calls per day. They've helped 56 million players since 1985. And Alan says there's one sure way to tell a veteran from a rookie.
You gotta get a big, solid piece of muscle.
You do have a big muscle in your thumb.
I mean, it's all right here.
Now, if you think you can cut it, there's some good news here. Nintendo is hiring 30 new game counselors this month.
Now, they won't tell us how much the job pays, but hey, it's free video games.
Done, you're taking a risk. Equipment at salons is often unsterilized, making you a target for germs and disease. An extra investigation reveals the unhealthy habits at nail salons. She won gold and won our hearts. Now, in an extra exclusive, we're going home with Olympic gymnast Mary Lou Retton. Now a wife, a mother, and still a champion. Want it all over tan but don't want to go nude? This swimsuit promises to let the rays shine through while keeping you covered. But does it work? Extra puts this product to the ultimate tan test. It's all this week, only on Extra.
All right, Libby, is it just me, or do people take their own sweet time pulling out of parking spots?
It seems like it, and actually it may not be your imagination. A new study says drivers can be a bit territorial with their parking spots. Well, I just had to put the research to the test. I'm waiting for your spot. Waiting for a parking spot? Does it ever seem like it takes forever for that car to leave? Well, a recent study from Penn State University indicates it's not your imagination. Results show from the time the car door opens, it takes drivers an average of 32 seconds to leave. Come on! But when someone is waiting for the spot, it takes an average of 39 seconds. Add 4 more precious seconds if someone honks. So I decided to put the theory to the test in this Los Angeles parking lot. Okay, I found a spot. The first car only took 10 seconds to leave the parking spot. Driver Ken Medina agrees many people are slow, but doesn't think they're doing it on purpose. Do you ever find that when you are waiting for a spot that person seems to be taking their own sweet time?
Sometimes I think they're just slow, and I don't think they're thinking about me one way or the other.
Then things got worse. Good thing I wasn't in a hurry. It's been about 15 seconds now. And his door's not even closed yet. Then he takes the club off his steering wheel. It's been over a minute. Okay, I don't know what he's doing now. Oh, I think he had to have a piece of gum or a mint. By the time he's finally out of his spot, I'd been waiting for 1 minute and 42 seconds. That's 1 minute longer than the average. And I didn't even honk.
Now, wait a minute. You are never that nice in our parking lot.
I know, but the camera was rolling.
He's wailing on the horn.
All right, well, you know, a little patience does go a long way in the parking lot.
That's true. All right, now we're going to leave you with something extra. Our fashion correspondent, Catherine Mogan, went backstage at designer Michael Kors' New York City show.
Now, you're about to see just how chaotic these shows are for the models and for the people who dress them. We'll see you Monday.
Have a good one.
Rock the house, y'all.
Straps falling off sometimes, shoes definitely always being too big.
Recently, I was at a show and they zipped my rib, the skin on my rib.
If a zipper doesn't go up, we'll take a stapler and staple that dress clothes.
You carry bags of underwear?
Yes, models don't bring underwear, and if they do, they just snitch some more.
Kristen.
We're the invisible people who are behind the scenes to get your makeup, your hair, everything coordinated.
It's not really that easy.
Everybody's over there.
What's this guy doing?